Um, so the purpose of the film is to really give people a sense of what it's like to attend an AME Institute. It's a large professional learning event for arts, media, and entertainment teachers that really strives to connect them as closely as possible to the creative industries, whether that's through software trainings or tours or panels, discussions. We really pride ourselves on strong partnerships with creative industry partners and really giving teachers the best professional learning experience they can possibly have. We're growing our community in 2023. So we will have another AME Institute in Los Angeles in June. This past year, we had about 500 people attend, but we're growing in 2023. I'm really excited about 3 pop-ups that we'll be doing, one in Oakland and 2 outside of California in the fall of 2023. And so we're trying to increase our impact and grow our community of educators. That being said, this film is going to be used to share out what is it like to attend an AME Institute for folks who have never had the experience of being at one. So as we put together our advisory committees for these pop-ups, we'll have an advisory committee for the Oakland one. We'll also have advisory committees for the 2 pop-ups that will happen in the fall of 2023. Many of these people have never been to an AME Institute. They don't know what to expect. They don't know what it's going to be like. So this is going to be a great tool for us to say, you know, in 1 minute, here you go. This is what it feels like to go to an AME Institute. I will also use it for funders. So in my conversations with various potential sponsors, it's my way of saying, this is what you're giving to, this is the kind of experience our teachers have. So there are a lot of different audiences that will see this film, and it will give them a sense of what we're building with these. And hopefully it will ultimately encourage more people to be a part of our growing community of creative industry and educators, both secondary and post-secondary, and nonprofit partners as well.
Okay.
Did that answer all your questions, Kevin?
Yeah, I think it really helps, you know, especially Juliet, who I've whispered to her about, you know, what happened. And I think Anna Marie and Terrence kind of know a little bit, but I wanted to kind of do a little bit more backfill on and context as to how we even found out, Dakar even found out about the AME Shock of Now 2022. I had never been. And I met Allison through Haley, who is one of the persons who was working at the California State University Entertainment Alliance. And Anna Marie and Terrence both know what that organization is. Ashley, are you familiar with them, CSUEA?
I am, yeah. And I know Allison, for those of you who don't know who Allison is, she works at the California Department of Education, and she is the sector lead for arts, media, and entertainment. So she is really our statewide leader, and she's super involved in building out a ton of different partnerships to support our programs. And she's incredible.
Yes.
She's doing really good work.
So Allison said, hey, Kevin, you should come to this conference. And I don't know what the registration fee was, but I'm like, well, I can't afford that. So I can't remember what it was. I couldn't afford anything. But she said, hey, here's a pass, you know, invite a few people. And I'm like, So I invited a few people. I think I sent out invitations to people that I thought would enjoy it as instructors or folks who could get more, you know, glean more insight on what you guys did and what Allison told me about, you know, her initiatives, especially around apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship in media, arts, and entertainment. But what happened is I couldn't find anybody that said, I'm going to invite a couple of students. And I said, well, this is my chance to get the conference as curriculum concept back in play, where I can invite these guys to do nothing more than to capture as many sound bites and as many interesting photographs and things as they could. And the cool thing is that it's a Warner Brothers studio. and they had an agenda, 3 days. First day, was pretty much all Warner Brothers on site. Second day, Woodbury College, and then third day was really not formatted for, I think, the instructors, but it was a optional third day tour of Warner Brothers studio. So Damone, who I had met through Anna Marie as a student, the very first thing I asked him is, where do you envision yourself, down the road? And he says, an animator at Warner Brothers. I said, oh, well, cool. You got to come to this event. Can you bring a camera? Do you know how to operate a camera? Can you do, some capture and some of the things that, will help us, create the sights and sounds of the experience? He said, yeah, cool. So then I also had another young lady who was a graduate from Chapman University, but she really was very focused on being an actor and didn't want to learn more of the business of the entertainment industry, which I respected. But she had sent me her reel, and she was very good at interviewing people. I found out, and she was a natural. So put a microphone in her hand, and she would just, take a few cues, and that's what kind of gave us the point of presence to get some, attention and be backpack journalists. And kind of we were like, just young men and women on the scene, and some old guy kind of tailing behind. And so that's what the experience became for us. Little did we know that Allison said that, hey, there was no social media manager, or there was nobody, I guess, contracted for the 3-day event. So she said, hey, can you guys just do as much as you can, and we'll figure it out afterwards. And so, she basically led us to certain things the first day, and we were able to meet the senior operating guy, or that I can't remember if the gentleman was the president of Warner Brothers operations who did the keynote, but we met him, and we met Sally Chan from Warner Brothers, and we interviewed several other people, politicians, and it was just super cool. So we got a lot of stuff in the can, but we didn't know what we wanted to do with it other than just keep it there for some purpose. And somehow I think was it Allison that led us to you, Ashley, as a person, that had some interest in all of this stuff we had in the can, photographs and video. And so
Right.
that's kind of how this thing kind of came to be, is just through being present, being on task, and being, again, capable of pivoting to anything that we could do to be relevant. And so that's what I'm really proud of Ashley and Nancy, for just being present. And that's what is really important for me, is to get young people who can, be on time, and be present, and really be, just kind of responsive to any opportunity, because you never know what's going to happen. So it's my long story of just saying, hey, just show up, and you never know, because this is a relationship business. It's make or miss. And, that's kind of what I want to tell anybody, is that I don't have a game plan all the time. Sometimes I just want to throw things together and see what sticks. And so I think that's where we are. And I'm going to ask Damone if he can, to tell us what we're getting ready to see. I'm going to do screen share. And this is draft number 12 of what I believe is Damone's effort to present to Ashley something that I think we'll all see, and we can all chip in our 2 cents on what it is that we see in here. And let me see here. Okay.
I just threw in the chat too.
Okay.
Apologies, I have a 10:30, so
Right.
I,
So
I hate to
I-
speed things up, but I just wanted to let everyone know I have to jump at 10:30. So
okay. So let's roll camera. Okay. So get out of here. Okay, let me start again here. Okay,
Nice
let's
job,
open the
Devon.
floor. Let's open the floor for any comments. Ashley, you first. Ashley, you first.
I
Comments,
think
open
it's,
the floor for
I,
any comments.
yeah, no, I was able to see a couple drafts of this, Damone. Thanks for you're the fastest worker I've ever known. But you quickly responded to my feedback and would like take that in, make an adjustment, send another draft. I think it looks great right now. I don't have any other comments. I really, I think my main concern was that we show the breadth of programming, and I think you pulled enough footage to do that. So those are my
I,
notes.
I like what you did with the titles, the color and the way they move on. I think they could be up a little bit longer. The rest of it moving fast is great, but to really have those hit home, they could be up a little bit longer, either layered over the other moving images for a longer duration, or a bit where it's static. I loved your cascade. I love what you've done with movement. So hands pointing to a chalkboard and then, or whiteboard, then blurring out a little bit. A lot of that was really nice, especially towards the end, there was this cascading zooms on people. The very, very end of it, it ends a little abruptly, and you can actually steal, borrow a sting from something, either sound library or from something, and just button it up. So when that music goes out, there's like a burst, and then it opens up to the sponsors. And I think where you say you're thanking the sponsors, you might give it a little treatment that's similar to your titles with that color and the stripes. That's, yeah, I have.
Thank you, Anna Marie. Yes. Okay, Terrence.
No, absolutely. I mean, those are really very similar to the only comments I had was, I think you have all the titles and the rest and using them a little more as the lower third so people really get that flow. I would look at, I think the title of what you were showing was after what you showed, and I would actually make the title of what you're about to show in front of it. So I would just rearrange tours when you're showing the tours. So I would just flip that part, hold them a little longer, and then to your point at the end, just slower, staying in, fade, and then get to that treatment of that thank you, a lot like your end card, right? I think you did a great job of beginning and end, right? This is a Alliance to Media Entertainment. I mean, I think that was solid. Just tightening that up a little bit in timing, but overall, I'm super impressed at how you took direction and quickly incorporated elements. I don't, my stuff is like little nitpicky stuff in terms of polishing. But I don't think it's anything that you can't do in the way that you operate in a matter of, an hour or so of some extra work and cleanup and polishing. But I think it's a great job, Demo.
Yeah.
And Ashley, I invited Juliet. Juliet, can you introduce yourself 30 seconds or less and then give me your impressions of what you saw?
Okay. Hi, I'm Juliet. I recently graduated CSUN. I was a student of Professor Anne Marie. And
a good student too.
I thought it was really cool. I thought you did a lot. I heard it was a lot of footage, so I feel like you cut that down really well. But good job.
By the way, Ashley, so I saw a lot of the images that look like teachers. Did capture? I mean, it looked to me like there were some good photos of the teachers and the folks and the rest. So, any highlight when there's a thanking? Certainly, if there's any, the LA City, whatever the right thanking is of the teacher organizations that are represented. I thought you captured it. I want to make sure it looked like that was who they were. some way to give credit to them at the end so that you know this special thanks to those, because that's your real audience, right? That's what you're doing this all for, so teachers can get this experience and impart that to students. So highlighting that somehow. But I thought visually, Damone, you did a great job of flowing that in.
Just so you know, we had over 160 schools attend, represented. We had 16 community colleges, universities represented. So it was a huge audience. And LACC, Damone, you may not have known this, but they were a sponsor and they were a significant sponsor. So it was nice to get their logo in there. That was like a win that I don't even know if you knew it was a win, but it was a smart move. I think you also got Adobe's logo in there. And I mean, some of these sponsors have been very supportive, and it's nice to just like, do a tip of the hat to them, because they really do. You actually captured all the important people. So
not to add any length to this, or maybe it could work with some of the lower thirds, but those are great stats. How many schools, and that will tell people, oh yeah, I'm looking at teachers, and look how many schools and how many teachers. Personally, if it works into some of the lower third titles, so it's in the body of the piece, but it could also be at the end, like right before you thank your sponsors, or as part of it.
That's a really interesting idea. We have created an infographic that is sort of like a impact report that's going to go right next to this film on the website. Just like a quick snapshot of the impact of the event. But that's a really interesting thought about incorporating some of that data into this film. Let me think about that.
Yeah, not a lot. You don't want to overwhelm it with that, because it's going by so fast anyway. But I think a couple of the bigger ones are, make a lot of impact.
Idea.
Yeah, I mean, look, even if you incorporate this into how you button it up at the end, right? I mean, the idea that, I like the fact that Damone captured those sponsors in the video, and I think when you thank you to sponsors with that black background, if you were to have the Adobe logo and the LACC logo, if you were to say these are the 4 logos that you might put on that, so now you stylize that black thank you, but you actually have their logos there, so and then to your point, whether even if you had an infographic, thank you, we served X amount of people, when you say see you soon or more information, telling people, hey, here's what we served, we hope to do more, it will invite them, and hopefully that gives you an ability to, one, promote the fact of how many people you did reach, which highlights what you're going to reach moving forward. And that way it adds, again, you've added it next to it on the website, but actually it's captured. So if you play this video outside of that, you have a way to use this externally.
Damone, I'm going to pull, I think that's a great idea. I'm going to pull, I have so much data from this event, but I'm going to pick like 2 or 3 key pieces that I would like to, and we'll put them at the very end. But I think that's a fantastic idea. And so Terrence, to your note about having all the logos, Damone actually did do a version with some logos, and I told him to cut it because we have so many partners.
Oh, you don't want
to. We would leave somebody out, and I'm like really sensitive about that. We have partners who give money. We also have partners like Dakar who give time and really commit to our community. And I felt like, first of all, that page would be full of logos because we have so many partners, and I would leave somebody out, and I don't want to do that. And we are always getting new partners too. So there was a little bit of sensitivity around not dating this too much by putting those in. So I just decided, let's not do logos. Let's just say thank you to all of our partners. But Damone actually did do a version with that.
No, that's awesome.
Damone, just to let you know, this is the world. This is what this is. When I was at ABC, I could work like 70 hours in 1 week and run a whole package of spots by 5 different executive something or others. And then Bob Iger would come home from a fishing trip in Idaho and say, oh, this is fine, but I want to go in another direction. Start over on a Friday night at 6:30.
No, that makes a ton of sense. Then the colorize or stylize like your other treatment and keep it as that. And very good feedback. At least they got incorporated. And you did a great job incorporating them within the piece though. And so that way it's actually functional.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Wendy, I know you've got to leave. Ashley, you got to leave in 5 minutes. I think the thing that is really important is for us to take this experience and hopefully use it as a case study so that we can share it with other students and other faculty who can understand that this is really how people learn how to deliver projects or product, on scale, on budget, on platform, and on time. And that's important, I believe, for them to have that experience in the real world. And a young man that just joined us below, he's actually done a project for me, about 1:20 for a film project that the U.S. Army is sponsoring, called Victory by Valor. And he cut down, tons of stuff, to do that for me. So this is Cameron. He graduated from San Francisco State last year. So I want to have all of these guys and gals, hopefully, be part of the community to help Damone make the last cut, the best cut it could be for you. So Damone, do you have any questions, suggestions, or comments for us before we let Ashley go?
Not much at the moment. Is there anything specific I need for, I guess, the next cut?
Yeah, I think we're gonna give, if you guys all can give like maybe the Google Doc, Terrence, for the final cut.
Sure.
Anna Marie, Terrence, Juliet, Cameron, even, we can do a Google Doc so that we can make sure all of the things we just talked about. I'll put the recording in the Google Doc, or give it to Terrence to put in the Google Doc so that, he can have a chance, because he turns these suggestions around in a matter, of minutes. I mean, literally, he's a very quick worker. And that's why I've spared you guys from all the different drafts. This is draft number 12. And sometimes he does them within 10 minutes. So he's very quick and very dedicated to this process. So that's one of the things that I want to laud him for. So yeah, we'll use a Google Doc. And so after then, I guess what you'll see is what we've done collectively to give him some more maybe last instructions on the 13th draft. And then we'll see what we can do to get it, closer to your August 26th delivery date. Okay.
Yeah, and
We're getting close.
yeah,
Sorry.
I know we are. I'll send over the data that I was gonna have added. How would you like me to? Do you want me just to send that in an email or add it to the Google Doc? What's the best way to put my final notes in?
You guys, any suggestions as to how?
Damone, what would be the easiest for you? Do you want to just go back to that same Google Doc, or have another Google Doc with statistics, or an email?
I guess at this point, I'm kind of used to the email.
That's how he's really responded with bullet
Yeah.
points and emails, and he'll just take them and integrate it right back into the draft. That's how he's been doing it. He's just stripping out, suggestions from Ashley, and boom, they're another draft.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to jump off too. I've been meeting all morning. I have another one this afternoon, but I didn't want to hijack this. I just put in the chat something about my last meeting, which was really exciting. It's a group supporting youth in terms of new jobs, creator jobs, the new economy, really blending that all together. So check out their website. Kelly Lovell is the head of that, and she was pretty impressive. And yeah, it was really, and they are targeting a diversity and inclusion as well as where we're going in the future. So
Oh, cool.
fun to know about. Yeah.
Okay. Well, guys, hey, well, that we'll go out on that note. If anybody has any last suggestions in the last 60 seconds, I think we're good.
Bye.
Okay,
Anyway,
guys.
thank
Bye,
you,
guys.
Damone.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Mark.
everyone.
Ashley.
Great job. Thanks, Ashley.
Terrence, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Julie.
Bye-bye.
Bye.